So for this activity, we're going to be referencing the student population that I have indicated in this tab. Right? It's locked because we don't really want to be messing with the format or the information that's contained within this, but we do want to be able to pull from it. So the first thing we're going to learn about is a simple random sample. All right? So I decided that I wanted to pull the name of the individual and the number of chin-ups that that individual is able to do, and I want 10 individuals to work with. All right, so what I would first do is a random integer value. All right, so there are 34 individuals in this data set, so I would do equals random rand between 1 and 34. Okay, so that would be my random number. And I want 10 of those. All right, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I overdid it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, I'm gonna double check to see that there are no repeats in here. All right, so I have my random numbers, they're generated. Anytime I make a change in a spreadsheet, these numbers are gonna change. And they are random, so the values that you get when you do this may not necessarily match the values that I get. All right, so actually what I'm gonna do is I'll insert a column, because you see how they change. I wanna have a static set of random numbers. All right, so let me center this, make it look a little nicer. All right, so I'll say static random numbers. I hit enter and it's going to change again. All right, to keep it from changing, what I'll do is I'll copy and then edit, paste special, values only. All right, so now these numbers are locked in. These will continue to change, but at least we know that we're going to be working with the same values. I see a 30 was included in there twice. I think that's the only repeat. All right, what you could do is you could sort the range from A to Z, and just see if there are any repeated values. And if there are, then you can go ahead and run a randomizer again. But you can do it for just one value if you want. All right, so I'll just take a 3, for example. All right, it came up as a random number. I'll sort it again. I don't see any other repeats, so we're good to go there. Now I want to pull the random. Well, I have the random number. I want to pull the name associated with that random number. So what we're going to do is type in equals VLOOKUP. All right, I'm going to have it look up the number 1 in the student population table. So I'm going to really just take everything. So I'll highlight the whole shebang from beginning to end. All right, so we're looking for the random number, which was 1, I believe, in this table, and I wanted to return the item that's in the second column associated with that. All right, and I'm going to type in comma 0 at the end. All right, it's a true false, and you see Chris came up. So Chris was the first student. Chris came up. All right, now you type in the 0 at the end because it's really just a true or false situation. That last entry is really just referencing whether you want the exact value or something close. All right, so I wanted something close to Chris, anything that, in that neighborhood, right? Because it's possible that maybe whoever typed in the data set, they typed in Chris and then they put it like a space. Instead of hitting enter, they hit space. So now it's Chris with a space at the end of it If I put 1, it would not necessarily return that value, right? So we do it this way. Generally, it's a comma 0 at the end anyway. Then I want the chin-ups, so I can grab this again. Let's see where my chin-ups are. Chin-ups, they're in column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the 10th column. All right, so same idea, just paste it in. I'm still looking at B6, but now I want whatever the entry is in the 10th column. All right, I'm gonna X that. Let's see, chin-ups, Chris had 8, that's correct. All right, I'll center this again. Then I'm gonna drag it down the line. And now I have a simple random sample of individuals and the number of chin-ups that they completed. So we're looking at stratified random samples now. So I'm going to copy and paste the population of students and sort it out. All right, so data, sort range A to Z. I decided that I was going to group by last or first name. So anybody A to G would be in the first category. Then H down to N. And then O the rest of the way. All right, I'm going to fix my highlighting here. All right, I want to be able to randomly or make random selections. I want to number these values. There's a couple ways to do it. One would be just manually number them for the amount of values that are there. Another way to do it would be to use a sequence function. So sequence. If you tell it how many rows you want to populate, let's say for example I did 23, I don't know, just making up a number, then comma 1, comma 1, comma 1, it would create a sequence of values starting with 1 and going to 23. Right? It's the same idea though. We would need to know how many values there are. If we wanted to actually count it up, we could use sequence. And then I would take the maximum of the counts in each column. So count A, and that would be from H down to, or H7 down to H23. And count A, same deal, comma, we'll close it up, comma, count A for alphabetical, so words instead of numbers. All right, so it'll take whatever that maximum value is and count out in 1 unit increments until it gets there. All right, so there's 17 values. Now if I want a random number from this, I would do equals rand between ran between 1 and 17. All right, so it'll pick a random number and I'll populate through that. Same idea for group 2, group 3, and so on. In fact, actually, in this case, I want to go ran between 1 and 11 because that's for the first group. So make that adjustment. All right. And you could do that with a count too. Instead of saying 1 to 11, you could say rand 1 comma count A, and then H7 on down the line. You could even do H7 to H, which would allow you to expand it if we have more than just the 11 values. So if I put a another name in here like Timmy, oops. It would expand and give us more options, all right? So I'm gonna copy this down the line, 2, 3, 4, there should only be 5 of them, so I have an extra one here that I didn't need. So same idea, but now I'm going to apply it to column I. So however many values are in column I. And then same idea for group 3, that's column J. Same idea down the line. So I have to do my VLOOKUPs now. So equals VLOOKUP. All right, the target number is 11. The table is this table. And I want to go column, if it's group 1, it's column 2, comma 0. So the fourth person is Brendan, and that's correct. That's what we see in the table. Go on down the line. Sorry. We want to make sure that these values stay static, right? So the table is always going to be G to J. So I'm going to lock it in. I'm going to lock in the dimensions of the table. And then it moves down the line and we're good, right? So same idea here in the next group. But what I want to do instead of referencing the second column is I want to reference the third column. All right, it's the same idea. 17th person, let's see here. It says 17th person is Joseph, which is not true. This should be L15. All right, so the 15th person is Mason, so we're good there. Same idea for the third group. This time I'm referencing, let's get rid of that extra equals, L23. And now I'm in the fourth column. So I get those values also. Right? And so what I would do at this point is just copy, because essentially it's like what we did before where we would have the variable random number, but then we also have the static. All right, so we want to kind of lock it in. So I'll copy this and I'll do a paste. I'll paste it down here, paste values, and just pull the names and pop them in. All right, and you can put it in alphabetical order if you want. You can leave it as is, really doesn't matter. What we need to do is pull the broad jump data for these individuals. So equals VLOOKUP. I'm going to go back into my student population. I'm going to copy, let's see, where's my broad jump? All right, you don't really have to go all the way. You just get it wide enough so that it incorporates the value that you're interested in. All right, so I'm looking up the name, so I gotta tuck that in there first. So the name is, oh, I messed that up. Try it again. Equals VLOOKUP. So the name, comma, the table. Again, just making sure we get broad jump in there. Comma, the column, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's the 10th column. And close enough is good enough. Lock it in. So Graham had a broad jump of 63. So let's just verify that. Find Graham. His broad jump was 63. So we're good in that case. And oops. So we want to make sure again that we lock the dimensions of the table. So get some dollar signs around the B3 and the K36. And when you do that, you should be able to populate the whole list. So this would be my random sample and all the broad jump values associated. Now, I had this set up so that when I had information typed in to this table, it automatically populated over here. We just need one random number for a cluster sample. So equals rand between 1 and 3. All right, so that's telling me to take group 1, which I'll do here. Just paste it right in. In this case, like before, edit, paste special, values only. So we just get the names. And now we want push-ups. So again, VLOOKUP. We're going to look up Ben. We're going to grab the table, starting with the names. Push-ups. Where are you, push-ups? Push-ups. Okay, here we go. All right, so that would be column 5, comma 0. And again, dollar signs around the parameters of the table. And lock it in. So I have 30 push-ups for Ben. Verify that. Yep. And then slide it on down the line, and I have my cluster sample of individuals and all their associated push-ups. All right, so your assignment would be basically to do that all again, just using the baseball tab, baseball population tab. All right, so same general idea, follow the same process, and submit your share link. Remember, share, change anyone with the link to editor, all right, and submit that.